my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were.
Yes. Howdy, folks. Welcome to episode number 73 of Mountain Readiness Monday Live. I'm your host, T, as always, coming at you live from the hills of Appalachistan. Speaking of Appalachistan, man, we just got back from a class with Brush Beater, did the RTO class this weekend, learning those comms, and great class, loved it. I still don't know as much as what I should. I'm going to tell you that right now. This, that, math, and frequencies and all that kind of stuff, woo, it's not my thing. But, hey, we got a great show tonight. And unlike the Super Bowl half bowl, the halftime show, we're doing it in English. You got to love that. So, what else we got in the viewers here? Remember, guys, like, share, subscribe, give us some love out there, do the thumbs up, all the things. Share it out so that we can get a couple more hits. And gets canceled here on YouTube. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because we're not monetized. We ain't making a dime off this, so it really doesn't matter what happened. We can just switch over to something else. In fact, I do love having our video that we tweaked a little bit. The Russ of Oz back behind the stage tweaked for us. But now I get emails every time that I air it, not because I'm violating the standards of YouTube for said Freedom Seed slingers in the video, but I am told I cannot monetize it because the music that used to not have anything attached to it does have a claim on it. So now I can't monetize it at all anyway. They don't want to pay me, but that's okay. I don't want their money anyway. A bunch of evil Epstein Island running bastards. Doesn't matter. So let's see what else we got going on tonight. This episode brought to you by, there you go, Micronic Silver. If you use promo code Robert Toombs, you get 10% off. Robert Toombs, there it is. There you go. 10% off. Micronic Silver. Scan that. Get your stuff. We're going to be talking with our guest tonight. That's who our guest is. Jeff Adams with Micronic Silver. We'll be talking tonight about all these awesome products I've been testing for the past month. And yes, you are correct. You are correct, Patrick. We are going to talk about it. And we're probably going to get another strike. And once again, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter at this point. So let's just make it interesting. Sandwich, good evening. How are you? Teresa, we've got Deanna. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight. What else do we have? Mountain Readiness, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Get your tickets. Our guest tonight is going to be joining us for this one. We've added Jeff. He's going to be talking about silver and how that can help building immunity. There's my man, Tom Bryce. What's going on, Tom? Hope you enjoyed that class. Let me know when you're on your way back through so we can hook up and hang out for a few minutes. Back 40 Survival, new one. I don't believe I've seen you on here, but welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Mountain Readiness, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We've added a whole bunch of instructors, and I'm adding even more. We just keep adding more and more to it. That's okay. It's going to be a great time. I just found out, if you guys are familiar with them, Radio Made Easy will be joining us at Mountain Readiness West out in Montana with Mr. Joe Dolio. Tickets are on sale for that one as well. We're going to be doing a comms class there before it. I think is when Evan is going to do that. He puts on a great comms class, and to get you, it's usually called, I believe it's the 0 to Hero, where if you are a complete dummy when it comes to comms, like I am, this is how you get right. So he will be there. Burke Spring, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Lots of people in the comments. Remember, guys, if you have a question for tonight's guest, make sure to use #silver. That way we're just slamming that word up all over the place so we can get shut down tonight. That's what I'm about, man. If you're gonna do it all the way. What else do we have? The Sovereign Health Summit. It's gonna be awesome. October the 27th through the 31st. My guest tonight is also going to be at this, man. Repeat offender. He just can't get enough. And of course, this here, guys, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, because it's all based on how good is the health, man. Everything is just stuff without that good, healthy foundation. The Lord knows I need to work on it myself, and I still am. So, let's get Mr. Jeff Adams out here. Bring him on up, Russ. Jeff, how's things in your neck of the woods, the cold area of the Big C?
¿Cómo está, Señor Roberto?
That's it. No habla español. How's Chicago, man? It's got to be chilly. Is it warming up at all?
Yeah, it was almost 40 today. So it's going to be down there about 12 tonight. So,
right. I know we finally hit 45 today, which is weird. Like, we're at this time, I'm in a t-shirt, but not tonight. It is still going to be cold. We did hit 45 today, though. We're supposed to be knocking 60 before the end of the week. And then it's supposed to snow this next weekend. So, I don't know. I've literally moved here to not deal with this, but here it is. Here it is right here.
Well, yeah, that's that global warming stuff,
Yeah. I said that. I said global warming sucks, man. At least in this neck of the woods it does. I know Montana, we're talking to our guy Joe Dolio out there, and he said it's like 60 degrees they've been getting out there. I'm sure it has nothing to do with DARPA and HARP and, all these other things and microwaving the air. We won't even get into that. We don't want to get canceled right out of the gate, but I'm sure it has nothing to do with that.
No, nothing's as it seems. I mean, even like the transgender people that are screaming and yelling and saying, well, gender doesn't matter. Well, then why are you making it an issue? If it really doesn't matter, why are you doing this?
Exactly. Now the world is topsy-turvy. We are upside down. Good is bad. Bad is good. Weather is crazy. I can't keep track of it, to be completely honest. Every time I turn around, I think that, it doesn't, right now, they could just come up with anything on the news, and I would probably believe it. It's just that nuts. These Epstein files that are coming out, some of this stuff. What in the world? And yet, no one is in jail. No one.
No, and with these deep fakes with AI and stuff, you have to look at everything that comes out and go, okay, who's putting this out? What's their agenda? What's behind it? Is it even real with what they're doing? And the funny thing is no matter all that stuff, Micronic silver works.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it does. That is the AI, man. It's really starting to get. I'm sure you've seen I believe it was Patrick 7 that shared this, where people have got their own little AI MySpace. Basically, have you seen this? Where chat bots and all this, they've dropping your own little AI bot into its own little MySpace area, and they're all working together and hanging out and building relationships with other AI entities. I'm like, man, this is straight up Terminator stuff is what this is.
You got to be careful, because you could end up with a STAI, I guess.
Yeah, an STAI. Yeah, that's true. I wonder if Micronic silver will fix that. I don't know. We could try it.
Gives a new meaning to short-circuited.
No doubt. Absolutely. For all those, I mean, most of the people know who you are now, Jeff, of our circle, but tell everybody a little bit of your background before we get rolling tonight.
Well, I was a general contractor for 38 years in the Chicago area. I'm a, excuse me, I'm a guy that didn't do well in school. I have dyslexia and ADHD, so I read upper left to bottom right. There's words that I don't recognize and don't see. So I was never really a good student, and it wasn't because I was lazy or I didn't want to get along. It's just that I had a really hard time reading, and I didn't test well because I never had enough time because I had to read sentences 5, 6, 7 times to get the meaning. So I'm a guy that dropped out of school when I was 16 and opened a construction company immediately, and had a construction company for almost 40 years, self-employed since about the age of 17, 18, and just followed with the things that God put in me, and in school, and the one thing I was good at was math. But even then, the teachers in calculus and trig, I started creating my own scales, and the teacher didn't understand it. I'm like, you have 27 steps to get this answer. I can do it in 4. Why would I use yours? And I was tired. I'm tired of teaching the teachers because I didn't get a degree in that. Um, and I just did my own thing. And in 2007, I met a gentleman who was a nuclear biochemical engineer who turned me on to silver. And the rest is kind of history. I just kind of been, I've been trying to interfere with God's plan, and he keeps pushing me aside and says, no, this is my plan, not yours. And I'm along for the ride.
Right. And what a ride it has been. What was the turning point for you? Like, because your construction business was not, I mean, it was a good business. You were doing well, correct?
Yeah, I had 27 crews running for almost 28 years, rotating crews. So, I mean, I was doing well with it. And when I was introduced to silver, when I had pneumonia when this gentleman introduced me to it, and it knocked it out in a couple days. And so that's when I got interested in the natural health aspect. But for the first, 2007 to 2012, it was just a hobby. And then it became just a side little business. And then in 2019, when COVID hit, we applied for emergency patent testing on it for COVID, because if you nebulized with it by your second inhalation, you were coughing up the thick phlegm. And we applied with another company to do it, and they would not allow it to be tested. And it was like, it's like, well, wait a minute, this stuff works. Literally by your second inhalation, you were coughing up phlegm, and they wouldn't allow it to be tested. And it's like, okay, this whole thing's a scam. And that's when I realized, like, okay, this is something here. And, God told me to give my construction company away. So we gave it away for $1. And this is the journey he put me on. And no matter how far I try to mess it up or what I try to do, he keeps putting people like you and Billy in my way. And just, he wants me to work until I die, I think is what it is.
That's it. That's what it is. So hold up. Let's back up here, because there's another thing that just popped that I didn't know. So you had a construction business for years and years, a profitable construction business, and you gave it away for $1.
Yeah. It was the hardest buck I've ever made.
Did you save the dollar?
No.
Did you at least frame that thing up and put it on the wall?
No. The funny thing is God was impressing me to get rid of the construction company and had a new plan for me. And I asked him for signs. I was the guy on the roof watching the hat go back and forth, or, that the helicopter's coming to save you. And, I finally wised up, but I was asking for signs. And we were supposed to go an event, and all the money that we made, which we would cover our bills for, in this new venture, was from the Reawake America tour. And they told me they didn't have room for me at this one. And it's like, okay, well, this is all I have, and this is where the money comes. And somebody else told me about another event. I went there, and, I set up to go there. And the next day, and I hadn't gone to the event yet. It was a couple weeks away. And I was like, God, you got to give me something. So a gentleman who bought our product, he was an attorney, and he'd been buying our product for years, since 2012. So this was 7 years he's been buying our product, and he's telling me, Jeff, you have a company here, and he was into natural health. And he showed up at my door and stuck a check for $30,000 in my face and said, well, you opened a frickin' company already. So that was a mini sign to me. So I'm like, okay, so giving the company away, doing this, and I'm stepping out on faith by giving the company away, but I kept 3 projects in case God didn't show up. Right. So how much faith does that take? And it started 2 of the jobs, and they were small jobs, but they were building decks, which I did 5,000 of them, and they were like big decks, like $60,000 decks. So they were huge. And decks were easy for me. But I had problem after problem after problem, just one thing after another was bad. So before this guy knocked on my door and before I got invited to this other event, I sat down with the people and I'm like, you know what? I should have never taken this project. Here's all your money back. And they're like, but it's half done. I'm like, yeah, I know. Here's all your money back. And they're like, but you had labor, you had material that you paid for. I'm like, no, I should have never taken this project. Here's all your money back. You hire somebody else. You can hire the guy that took over the company, whatever you want, but I should have never taken these projects. So here you go. And it was literally, I'm like, okay, God. So now I'm really stepping on a faith because I wasn't that doubting Thomas there. And it was literally like 2 days later that I had the knock on my door with the guy with the check and the phone call saying, hey, we have this event there. And I mean, that's what kind of launched us.
Man, that is mind blowing. I love it though. I mean, that faith, the grain of a mustard seed, right? So you literally, you saved a few jobs back just in case, not a complete faith walk, gave your construction company away for $1. And then halfway through the job, you just said, you know what? Who cares? Here you go. I'm not even I'm just going to chalk it up as a loss because I should have just had, had blind faith. And so you just gave away everything. The whole job you took a loss on.
Well, I realized that, that faith of a mustard seed is also a doubt of a mustard seed. So
You're
Satan
right.
cannot interfere with God's word, but what he can do is he can affect how we interpret God's word. And so if he can get just that little doubt of mustard seed in there, now suddenly we're doubting what God's word is and the sovereignty of what God told us. And, oh, it's a different time, oh, well, the disciples seen miracles and they had a hard time believing, we're 2,000 years removed. How much harder is it for us? And you can make all these
Right.
excuses, but when it comes down to it, either everything in the Bible's true or it's all a lie. There's no in between. He said, do not be lukewarm. I'll spit you out of my mouth. Our yeses are yeses and our no's to be no's. And I'm still, still getting, beaten up every once in a while for something that I put in my head. And you know what? I mean, giving those people those money back, I think is a whole lot less painful than God punishing me in a way that would have been the way he would have done it in the Old Testament.
I love it. I love it. No, you have to take that walk of faith. And I think that is just amazing. We did something pretty close to that. I know, when you look at social media, even this room, behind me is this nice room and I've got some signs and it looks all pretty. But if you look right over there, there's a whole bunch of wires hanging out of the wall and, half finished and pieces of stuff hanging out because it's a work in progress. And, there's on social media, it always looks like, let's see, did we lose Jeff? Where'd you go, Jeff? Are you still there? I think we lost Jeff. Whoop, nope, he's back.
Sorry about that. I had problems with my internet, so I'm on my phone. So somebody decided to call me during the interview.
Right in the middle of it. That's okay. I mean, you're a busy man. Business is business. Whoop, they're calling again.
So sorry
There
about that
we go.
again. They're persistent.
They're very persistent. You're in demand, Jeff. That's what it is. You're in high demand. But what I was saying was the faith walk that we took, and we were
Okay,
told we
I
were
lost you guys
insane.
really good this time.
How about now? What you got, Jeff? We're having some technical difficulties. Let me see if I can take him off and
Can you
how
guys
about
hear me now?
Jeff? I can hear you loud and clear, man. Tell you what, let's remove him and let's add him back in. There we go. Whoop. Nope. He'll come back in a second. Patrick says, stop poking me, Jeff, he said. Love it. Yeah, he was. He was poking all over everybody's face. This is how it goes, though, guys. That's the fun part about live because you never know what's going to happen. You could get a strike. You could get canceled. Your guest could have people calling him on his phone. I mean, it's just what it is. You know what? We're just going to bring the Russ of Oz out here for a second while Jeff is getting himself all bam. The Russ of Oz steps out behind the curtain. What's going on?
What's up, Bob? And here comes.
There he is. That's all right.
Maybe.
You can stay up here for a little bit.
Sorry
Let's
about
see.
that.
You're good. Just how about now? Still can't see you, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my camera here. I'm going to punch out and re-log in.
Sounds good.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there you are. There you are. Sideways,
There we go.
upside down. Boom.
In case you don't know, I'm a technical genius.
That's all right, man. I hope you. I can attest that you make silver products better than you operate a phone.
Well, the gift God gives us, you know.
That's it. You might as well hang out here too, Russ. You're already out here now. So
No worries.
just
no
hang
worries.
out there and smile. You know, you're always trying to hide back behind that curtain. Just stay out here and hang out with us. So, no, I think what we were talking about is walks of faith. You know, walks of faith. Yeah, we love the live show too. that's where it's at right there.
I don't know whether Joey is directing that at you or me. There's no telling.
Yeah, I was just
Let's
trying
hear-
to prove that this is live to everybody.
That's it. Say, drink too many Jello shots. Yeah. Shame on you, Patrick Seven. Stay in the bed all day and stuff like that. But no, we were talking about the walk of faith. I remember when we moved here to North Carolina. You know, my wife was born and raised in Indiana, and I ended up in Fort Wayne for about 20 years, close to 21 years. And we both had great jobs. I mean, that's a fact. I worked for the city. I was a union tech. I was the union steward of the shop. Amber worked for Avery Dennison Corporation. We both were, you know, retirements, vested, the whole bit. And I was just completely sick and fed up of dealing with the city, dealing with, I don't know, there was no freedom there. We had our house was paid for. You know, we could come and go as we please, do fun stuff, go on trips. You know, we were at that point in our life where we didn't have to, you know, beat ourselves half to death to get anything accomplished. But there was just something missing, something lacking. And so when I moved down here, you know, we literally quit our jobs, sold everything we owned, moved 530 miles away across the United States to a place that we knew no one, for a job that was so sketchy that I took that, I mean, you know, my wife is a spreadsheet person, so she did the whole spreadsheet about how we were all going to starve to death and lose everything that we own. We moved to Wilkes County, North Carolina. And I was like, you know, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. I don't care what we have to do. I don't care if I have to hand out smiley face stickers at Walmart. We are going to make it one way or another. And, you know, I moved down here 3 months later. Amber moved down here. It took a year for our other house to sell. We're paying 2 mortgages at the same time. You know, the job I took was a truck and tire service. I was a road tech. And it was that first week working was a struggle. I went from being a Starbucks taste tester in a shop, telling people what to do, to being out in a parking lot, crawling around in the mud and dirt and working 17 hours a day. And I called my wife Amber, and I told her, and at the end of week 1, I said, I may have messed up. And she was like, I told you, the spreadsheet never lies. We're going to starve, you know. But, you know, you settle in and you just take that deep breath, and you're like, you know what? This is meant to be. This is going to happen. This is what the Lord wants me to do. And no matter what, I'm going to do it. And here we are today, 10 years later, on a podcast, trying to bring folks together to learn from one another, and you know, this building these communities. And I think it's amazing. I did not even know that stuff about you, Jeff. We didn't even have the chance to talk about that, you know, I didn't realize you gave your company away. And then you just like, you know what, here, just take this job and keep all that too. I don't need it. It's going to happen. That is just, I mean, it gives me that little tingle inside.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, I never claimed to be wise. So it's, you know, I just have to step out on faith, and, you know, it's, you know, relationships are a funny thing. You know, like you said, boy, it seems like the spouses are quick to tell you when you mess up, you know.
There is that.
and I always used to say, yeah, you know, mine is not my best friend. And my friends are like, what do you mean? I says, listen, I haven't seen my friend Steve in 20 years. If I call him at 2:00 in the morning, he picks up his phone and goes, Jeff, it's 2:00 in the morning. Are you okay? Yeah, not my partner. No. She's like, do you know what time it is? What are you doing? I mean, nothing concerning about how I am, not offering to come pick me up. Just letting me know that I woke her up at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's not happy.
Right, right. Faith walks though. Let's just talk about it. Let's be honest. Like, faith walk 2,000 years ago was, hey, step out on this water and walk to me. I mean, now that takes some faith in the middle of this storm, and we're worried about, how are we going to make money? How are we going to do this? Even our 100 years ago, 150 years ago, our forefathers jumping in a buckboard wagon, traveling across the United States that was just, all these new vast areas of wilderness, and they just did it. That was just a different breed. And I think, man, we've just gotten too spoiled, I think.
Yeah, a lot like your journey, moving to someplace you don't know.
Man, and that isn't even really that bad, to be completely honest. When you really think about it, what all of our ancestors did and these things, is that was a cakewalk compared to that kind of stuff. It was, here we go. Patrick said, better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. That's one way of looking at that. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Well, faith is heaven's currency. So, when you're worried about stuff, the amount of faith that you have, I mean, directly affects everything in your life, because really it's all about faith. It's the faith that activates the grace that is freely given. And that's why every miracle that Jesus did, it required an act of faith, some kind of effort to do something to show that you actually believed in what you were being taught.
Absolutely. What's a faith walk for you, Russ? What was a pivotal point in your life? Did you have that where you were just like, you know what? I'm just doing this. It's going to happen. I've got to do it.
I think it was back when I got sick with the kidney issues. We took a kind of a blind leap of faith, and I retired. Teresa was the breadwinner. I was the house husband. And, I went back to school, got a degree. And then when she subsequently retired, our leap of faith is doing all these podcasts and going to the events and, changing the way we're living. And we wouldn't change it for anything.
Amen to that. Amen. Absolutely. Let's talk. Now you are full-time Micronic Silver. You're traveling around to all these different events. Where did it really start picking up? I mean, you gave up everything. You said, here's this construction business. I'm done working on this. And then did you just blow up? I mean, is that what happened?
Well, when I went down to that other event, when I couldn't go on the Reawaken, I met a gentleman who he owned his own, I was going to say radio station, but podcast station. It was running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It had 8 moderators, different hosts, and they were on all the time. And he had walked up to my booth, and his neck was hurting. He was going like one of these. He's like, "Do you have anything for a sore neck?" And I gave him some of our Liazone. I said, "Well, here, you can demo this and try it." And he put the Liazone on his neck, and we were talking. And after about 5 minutes, he's like, "The pain in my neck is gone." He goes, "This can't possibly work this fast." I said, "It absolutely. 80% of the pain on soft tissue in about 8 minutes." And he's doing this, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I got a little radio program, podcasting. Would you mind? Could we put this on there? My average listener is like 55 years old, and they're always in pain. And would this stuff help them?" I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "Well, would you come on and talk about it?" And I said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, we can do an affiliate program with you." And he's like, "Well, what's an affiliate program?" I said, "Unlike conventional marketing where you charge us a bunch of money, we raise our price and you sell it." I said, "What we do is we go on and talk about the product, send them to our website, and then we pay you a percentage to your radio station for doing it." And he said, "Well, could I trade that into material so I can give it away, on products that I could give it away at events and stuff?" I said, "It's yours. You can do whatever you want." And so he's like, "Well, let's look at doing that." And then that evening, he went to dinner with 2 professional wrestlers, recently retired ones that had really bad knees, and they put that Liazone on their knees. And he said they were running around like 5-year-olds. He said, literally, now to be a wrestler, you have to have a mentality of a 5-year-old anyway. But he's like, they're running around, they're jumping around the restaurant, causing all kinds of ruckus. And he literally called me. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning at that event in Texas. He's like, I want to get you on right away. So when are you back home? When can we do this? I said, well, I head home on Sunday. I'll be out on Monday. So if we get scheduled for something for Tuesday, and he did. And, we got on there. The first month we did 10,000 worth of sales. The next month we did 30, the next month 60, and the next month 90. And it was going well. And then they changed their format to a more secular, where, originally they were talking about God, and, you go in there, talk about it, and then they asked us to tone it down a little bit, and that there's some people that are offended by God. And I'm like, well, their offense is on them. If somebody says
Right.
something, I can choose to be offended, but that offense is on me. And we're called to say what's right and what's true. And if people are misquoting scripture or picking out little pieces of a verse and say, well, it's this, well, it's that, it's like, no, you need to take the whole thing in context and understand where it's coming from. And they said, no, that's getting around to hate speech and you can't do it. So God told us to get off the platform. So we got off the platform, and our sales went back down to about $5,000 a month. And
once again, it was like, that is what it is. Time to go, right?
there for a season.
Give the company away for $1.
Yep, we were there for a season. And God just elevated us. I mean, it's just, I was on the Reawaken, back on there doing it every month or twice a month on some of them. And I ended up being the Reawaken for 3 years. And that just introduced us to a lot of people. Our products are, and you can probably attest to this, Robert, our products work so well that we have an 85% customer retention rate of at least 3 times. So our customers try the products, they buy it, they're interested in the other products that we come out with. We're coming out with new things like our tooth spray, our Silver Bright tooth spray we just launched. And people try them, they're like, these are amazing. And we're blessed
Yes.
enough right now to have 15 products. Any company, and this is what I've been told by some really professional companies, businessmen, any company would love to have one product that works as well as ours do. And we've got 15 of them that all work equally well.
And I will tell you now, there's what you were talking about right there, the Elia Zone. I will tell you guys that I've been testing these products since Jeff was on the last time. I think that's a little over maybe a month ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Not only on myself, but on my animals. I had a turkey, one of my turkeys. Some of you have probably seen that picture of me hugging a turkey in my floor, and Amber taking pictures of me all being a softie and stuff. But I do love my turkeys. But my turkey ripped its whole nail off down to the quick, ripped it out. It was just the inner part of the nail. And we didn't realize it until like the next day. And of course, turkeys are self-destructive. They want to die for some reason. They want to unalive themselves. I don't know what it is about them. They just do. And so it'd been ripping at it. It got all kinds of, turkey poop in it and all this. It was smelling horrible. And so I said, you know what? Let's clean this girl's foot up, and let's use the Silver Zone on it. We use the Silver Zone cream that you got and the spray to clean it off. So we give her a little Epsom salt bath, on her foot, cleaned everything up, put that on there, sprayed it, put that on top of there, wrapped her foot up. At day 3, we're good. Everything was good. We had to keep that wrapped up for 3 days. Every day we'd take the little wrapping off of his foot, clean it all up again, put the Silver Zone on there and the spray, clean it up with that, wrap it back up. By the day 3, we got rid of it altogether. And she's completely fine. And, online we're looking and we're like, trying to see what the best way to doctor this turkey up. And most people was like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. Half her toe fell off, after this happened. There's all these stories about what happens. It fixed it up in 3 days. It was amazing, I got to say. So what do we got here? Yeah. And guys, look, #silver if you got a question. And scan that, because I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about some products tonight that have blown me away for how well they have worked. So that was just one case. Been using your nose spray. This is the, let's see, we got this one. This is the regular one, I believe, isn't it?
Yep, the Micronic Silver
nasal spray. Yep. And then you have the high octane one here, which was the Sonic Mist. This right here. Now, this stuff here, I will tell you, man, this stuff, if your nose is clogged up, man, that will open it up quick, fast, and in a hurry. That is a fact. But I have been around multiple people now who have been sick, even strep throat, a bunch of people with strep throat stuff. I have got 0, like nothing. and I've been using this nasal spray, this one, the main one. And you have your, what is this one here? The dietary supplement. Those two right there, just, a little bit every day. And I've got zero. This one here knocked out whatever it was. Maybe it was the C word. I don't know. But that was the first one I tried, guys. This one right here, I was feeling horrible. Started getting the feeling of, oh yeah, this is going to be one of them down for the count for 3 to 5 days. And you had just sent me this stuff the day before. Guys, I took this, hit a couple sprays. By the evening, I'm feeling way better. Did it again. By the next day, I use it one more time. By that evening, 24 hours later, whatever it was gone. It was gone, and I've had zero issues since then. So I will swear by that all day long. That product and Life Less Toxic. Yes, they do. We use Micronic Silver in my household every day. Absolutely, guys. And I'm telling you, I don't endorse anything that I have not tried. And I will tell you, this is the only stuff of the silver, in the silver realm, that actually worked whatsoever. So
yeah, when I first talked to you, you had mentioned to me, you said, transparency right up front. I've got a drawer full of silver stuff that I've had for years that was non-effective, that marginally worked. So I'm not expecting great things, but send it to me, and if it works, I'll be happy to talk to you about it on my program. And you said, we want to try the product before we come on here. We want to know it works. Now, you're friends with Billy, so you know it works because you talked to Billy
right
about our product. But I also told you, I said, well, we don't like to come on anybody's show until they've got our product and they've tried our product too.
No, it is. I couldn't believe it because, like you said, I do have a drawer. I mean, I have a ton of stuff in the silver realm, and just like everybody, Russ, you probably the same way, a bunch of health food stuff, vitamins, minerals, this, that, people waste thousands. I would go as far as to say thousands of dollars a year on healthcare products. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Probably that. I mean, I guarantee you, I probably spend $1,000. I have spent $1,000 a year on stuff that is supposed to be the latest, greatest, best, kill, antibacterial, antiviral, cleanses is another one. Oh, this is going to strip your body of all those toxins, blah, blah. Doesn't make a hill of beans. I'm going to tell you, I have not found those products until this right here. And this one here, I am really excited about, guys. This one right here, this Silver Bright. Now, before we get into that product, let's talk about this now. And I need a product for eyesight, Jeff, because I'm starting to have to zoom in on ingredients and stuff. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Well, you can spray our topical healing spray right in your eyes.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So you take
I'll try.
Do the dietary supplement internally and spray the topical healing spray in your eyes.
Okay. It was funny because I was reading something that, other things of silver. Did you see ancient Persia? They had silver plates that they used to preserve their food. I did not know that. That was something new. And then it was talking about treating burns. I believe they still use silver for treating burns. Do they not?
Yeah, that's called silver salvadine or silverdine cream, which was invented by Dr. John Richardson, which John from RNC, the apricot seed guy. It was his dad in the late 60s that invented the silverdine burn cream that every hospital still uses.
Okay. And then it was talking about, for burns and then for infants, for eye infections and newborns.
Yeah, so for a long time, and this is going back to the 20s, up until I believe it was like the late 70s, they would use silver to put in the baby's eyes, and it was a silver nitrate. And because of the bacteria going through the birth canal, could cause eye infections. And it was okay in the 50s and 60s because a hospital would have 1 or 2 or 3 maybe babies at a time, and the nurses could go in there and clean their eyes out. Well, when you get into the 70s and 80s, when they had 15, 20 babies in there and they're washing their eyes out and they're not getting to rinsing the eyes out, and what would happen is the silver, the water-based silver would evaporate, leaving the nitrate, which would burn the optical nerves. That's why so many people at our age wear glasses. and then they switched to a pharmaceutical product. But yeah, they I mean, it's been 3,000. The first recorded use of silver was 3,000 BC. When the Phoenicians were lining their water vessels with silver so the water wouldn't stagnate.
Yes, yes. And that was something, the deep dive on the silver. We actually used to throw them in a cistern. We actually had silver dollars in the cistern years ago. We had of course, a shallow well. And I mean, it did the trick. We never got sick from the water, even though it was only, I think it was only about 10 foot deep, if that. That was down in Louisiana that we had that cistern for drinking water. I'll never forget it. It was pretty nasty. And, a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, but we had silver dollars down on this thing. And the water started smelling really bad. Started getting a bad smell to it. I just kept on drinking it. Everybody just kept on drinking it. And finally, my father was like, what in the world is, and so he pulls the lid off the cistern, and there was a whole family of possums that fell down in there and were rotting and decomposing in the water. And we were actually drinking this, but nobody got sick. It was insane. You still there, Jeff? Did I lose you? I think I lost Jeff again. It appears. Jeff, you're locked up there, brother. Let's see here. Let's see if he can come back. I don't know. We'll see if he comes back. It's going to be one of those nights. We'll just keep trying it. But yeah, it was pretty bad, man. A whole family dead, a family of dead possums. What's up, Mr. Pat Militich? Mr. Pat Militich in the house. Silver discussion, love it. Pat, I just passed on Jeff's info via another the person that is setting up his podcast. I passed your info to her, and they were interested in talking to you as well. I hope you don't mind. Jeff, of course, is a pretty awesome dude. We'd had some conversations about this here last week, but Jeff keeps freezing up and disappearing. So we'll just ramble on about, we just ramble on a little bit until then. That's okay.
So the cistern full of dead possums, huh?
Dead possums. And the silver evidently did what it was supposed to do, but it was quite nasty, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Disgusting. I'll tell you, here's something I want to read. We were down there at Brush Beater, guys. I was down there taking that RTO class this last weekend. It was pretty awesome. He's coming back in, baby.
Hey, guys, I'm in.
There he is. He's back. I was just talking about here, in your absence, we were talking about dead possums in a cistern and how the silver cleaned it all up, even though it smelled horrible. But we were talking. Radio Made Easy was down there. Evan with Radio Made Easy. Evan was actually at our first Mountain Readiness. I don't know if you remember that, Russ. But he posted a thing today, and I thought it was really awesome what he said. He said, training is a powerful people filter because it narrows the sample size of those who are willing to sacrifice their time, money, and comfort to learn. I've regularly met the best folks on earth in training courses. Want to find your tribe? Go train. I thought that was just awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Way of looking at getting together, building community, and going and training and doing these type of things. Because he's right. When you take your time, you take your money, and you come to events, whether it be Mountain Readiness, whether it be something else, it doesn't matter. But when you invest that time, then that really shows you what people are, what those people are about. And I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Evan, for such an awesome quote that I wrote today, that I read today and shared that around. But back to what we were talking about, dead possums. That's all over with. And I guess you spoke to Pat Militich too then, Jeff. That's what Pat says. Pat's in the house.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, Pat.
So let's see. What did Patrick say? He said, you ever consider that possums might have been trying to rob you of your... That's possible. That is highly possible. The possums are trying to steal that silver.
Well, how do you know they were really dead? Maybe they were just playing themselves.
They were just playing. Yeah, it was pretty obvious they were dead.
Well, a shout out to Pat. Pat's a great guy.
Absolutely. Pat is the man. And Pat even said, hi, Jeff. Of course, guys, Pat will be back with us this May to Mountain Readiness. And if you don't know who Pat is, you need to check out Soil Saviors and Cell Saviors, because just like Jeff, Pat and Doc will have products that actually work and do what they are supposed to do. That's why we put them on this show, because they're awesome. So scan them as well if you want some good stuff, because this is how you get healthy, guys. You got to have healthy soil. You got to have healthy, the silver is doing its thing. But speaking of what we were talking about, this stuff right here, guys, I want to talk about this product, Jeff, because this blew me away, man. This one blew me away.
Yeah, that's our Silver Bright tooth spray.
This was amazing. And I'll tell you, I've been brushing my teeth over a year now with baking soda, and it works, but it tastes like crap. It just does. And it balances out pH a little bit, but it's not the most invigorating taste in the morning, first thing out of the bed, or before you go to bed, sodium bicarbonate in your mouth. But I wanted to pull up, we'll cover this part up, but we all know who toothpaste this is. We all know who this toothpaste is right here. And I'm sure there's tons of you out there, guys, that are using toothpaste like this one right here, over the counter, this stuff right here. I did for years. But, of course, I pulled up some of the ingredients in this stuff. Water, glycerin, hydrated silica, an abrasive, sorbitol, alcohol, sugar. But then we get to PEG 12. I see this stuff is used in concrete, metalworking, industrial cleaners, cosmetics, agrochemicals. I'm like, good grief. Polyethylene glycol that is what that stuff is.
Antifreeze.
And the antifreeze.
Polyethylene glycol. It's used as a sweetener.
Exactly, to make it taste good. In fact, that's how you used to, people used to put them out for, little animals that were coming around the house. Throw out some of that polyethylene glycol to, they go to sleep real quick. And then they even have here, what's the next one? Tetropotassium thiophosphate. I can't even pronounce this stuff, but it's all, detergents, industrial detergents, liquid detergents, cleaners. And this is what y'all's putting in your mouth. And of course, the mouth is the quickest way to the bloodstream, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, intravenously is the number one quickest way to get something in the blood. That's why they put vaccines right into the veins. But the best way to do it is through your mouth and your nose. That is your gateway to general health. The old saying, you are what you eat, is wrong. You are what you absorb. So when you eat healthy, you're absorbing more good things in your body. And you look at stuff like polyethylene glycol, you'd be surprised at the number of things. So poly means many. Ethylene is synthetic, like polyester. And right. I have a guy that was a friend of mine that has a product that he makes. It's a toothpaste. And I challenged him on this. And he said, well, no, they said it's all natural. I said, polyethylene glycol, there's no natural form of polyethylene glycol. It's all right. Synthetic. He goes, no. He said, we got the report. His product was made in China, and they put out a report saying that the polyethylene glycol that they used was natural. It's petroleum. That's what it is.
Right. Petroleum byproduct. Right. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And then fluoride. So for people that don't know, fluoride is the waste product you get from making fertilizers. It's literally toxic waste. If you spill an ounce of it on the ground, you're required to have a hazmat team come and clean it up. Now, what happened is they had all this waste product for making fertilizers, and they're like, what do we do with it? So they got this bright idea to lobby the federal government. And if you can sell your waste product, it's no longer toxic waste, it's a commodity. So they're like, and the military picked up on it, and they would use it in the 50s, would use fluoride to help brainwash soldiers because they're easy. People are more susceptible to suggestion. They're less violent. They tend to listen more. And then they got the bright idea of saying, hey, you know what? Let's use this in schools to make kids sit around and listen more, make them less violent. And that's how they got the big push through the schools and got it in with the national dentistry registries and stuff to get dentists. Dentists cannot get their license if they don't promote fluoride.
Man. Now tell us a little bit about, because I know you, some of the stuff that Amy had sent was, showing the relationship with your teeth and organs and things of the body, and, linking that to health, heart disease, stuff like that. Can we go into some of that detail?
Yeah. Every tooth in your mouth is tied to an organ. So they've actually done studies, and they've had women that have had a lump in their breast, and they find out that they've got an infected root canal, and they pull the tooth, and then the lump goes away. That's it's the foundation for your natural health. So when you want to start getting healthy, you want to start in the mouth. The mouth and the nose are the gateways to everything else in your body. Viruses incubate in your nasal passages, and all your nutrients and stuff go in through the mouth. The reason I put the mouth second to the nasal is that when you take stuff orally through your mouth, it goes into your stomach, and the hydrochloric in your acid usually destroys things that are bad for you. Where the nasals, you don't. So that's why it's a little bit more critical to use like the nasal sprays and stuff for colds and flus and viruses, because they incubate in the nasal passages, and they have a direct line to the lining in the brain. Where, when you look at, your oral stuff, but you're building your natural health is all through the mouth and through the gut, because that's where things are broken down and absorbed, and your body sends them to where they're supposed to go.
Absolutely. I will say too, guys, this stuff, this Silver Bright, if there was, these two products here, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the nasal spray and this for the Silver Bright, if you buy anything from Micronic Silver, try those out first, because in my opinion, that they are solid. This Silver Bright, I have never had cleaner feeling teeth. And here's the great part, guys. It's a big bottle. You 5-6 sprays just in your mouth, like breath spray, and then you brush your teeth. I can't believe just that little bit, how clean my teeth are when I'm done. It's amazing. Is there? This here, you don't have to worry about swallowing it or anything, correct?
Right. Well, and I'm going to ask you your personal opinion for an all natural product. How does it taste?
It tastes amazing. Like that, I want to eat it. That's why I wanted to ask the question about, is it okay to swallow this? Because I'm going to tell you guys something. You don't put this in your mouth, and definitely don't swallow it if you do. We don't want to swallow this. Not to mention, this kind of stuff kills, testosterone. That's number one testosterone killer there is. This here, man, I want to eat this. Like I do 5 or 6 sprays, and I'm like, I'll just hit a couple more sprays in there. It'll be okay. This stuff is amazing.
When we formulated it, one of the things that was really close to my heart was we're involved a lot with autism and the autism conferences, and with mentally handicapped children. They want to swallow everything you put in their mouth. So with any toothpaste, the children are swallowing a lot of it. So that one of the things is we wanted to make sure is that they could swallow it, and it would actually be beneficial than harmful. The other thing that was really important is that it foams up, because it's that foaming agent that drives it under the gums and gets in the teeth, in between the teeth. And so that was really important. And that was one of the biggest challenges, was finding a way to make it foam up without adding a chemical to do that. And then the second biggest challenge was a sweetener, because we didn't want anything that elevated, your glucose level in your blood. We didn't want anything that was a stimulant. So we actually created our own sweetener in it. And that is a sweetener that looks, tastes, and feels and functions just like real sugar. You literally cannot tell it apart. And that has now become a company by itself. So we're going to be launching that real soon too.
Oh, wow. So we're going to have an all-natural sweetener then to add to the product line.
Yeah, that's got prebiotics and probiotics. It has fulvic minerals in it. And again, it's an amazing product. It turned out better than we could have possibly really designed a product for that, because we designed it to go in the tooth spray, and it turned out being so good that now we have a product that is going to be outstanding for people, especially in like their coffee in the morning and stuff where, people are diabetic, that promotes the whole health.
Man, that's amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to try that either. Well, yeah, guys, and check this stuff out. The Silver Bright. I got to say, you guys outdid yourself on that. And you just need so little. I mean, just a few sprays, and you don't need a breath mint either. I mean, good breath. It tastes good. Teeth feel like they've been polished. I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like every time I brush my teeth with this, it feels like when I go to the dentist and they do the the teeth polishing, clean all your teeth up and stuff. That's what your teeth feels like when you use this stuff, guys. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
the next morning when you wake up at night, you don't have that nasty taste, that sticky film in your mouth a lot of times.
Yes.
That you get. And we also have the Silver Bright mouthwash that we have that's in a dropper bottle. And what we've noticed is that halitosis, gingivitis, and sensitive teeth is pretty much gone on contact. And, coming out with a spray versus a toothpaste is kind of revolutionary. It makes it kind of fun to brush your teeth now. You're not touching the tip. And what I sent you was our family size. We actually now have that's a 4-ounce bottle. We now have a 2-ounce bottle that you can travel with. And we put them in glass bottles for the purity on it for the product. No more touching the toothbrush to the toothpaste tube, that usually you share with multiple people in your family. So, it's going from person to person. And now, you're not squeezing every little last drop out of the tube. And like you said, and if you want a more minty flavor, you just put another spray in your mouth.
Yeah.
So you can tune it.
Oh, no, this stuff works great. Not only does it taste good, it works great. The good breath on top of it. And it's, I was packing this thing around all weekend. I even had guys at the class. They were like, what are you doing? I was like, man, this is the toothpaste right here. I was just blown away by it. I thought this was a great product. Also, I mean, the stuff that's in here too, this is still, antibacterial and the whole bit, right? So you're killing germs off at the bad ones at the same time.
Yeah, it's got the Micronic silver and ozone. So it's the only tooth product that has silver and ozone together in it.
Nice.
Which is amazing. And we're the only people that have been able to encapsulate the ozone where you don't taste it or smell it. So you're getting the function of it. And I apologize. I thought we sent you the mouthwash. That comes in a dropper bottle, much like the CBD products, where you just put a little bit under your tongue and you swish it around.
Okay.
And I have a cracked root canal that, a lot of times at night hurts me. And I just take that dropper bottle, I put it right on that tooth, and almost immediately the pain's gone.
Wow. I will tell you one thing that I found with now, over a year now, I was using baking soda to brush my teeth. I used to have really sensitive teeth, like, cold, hot, always ache, hurt, all this kind of stuff. When I gave up over the counter stuff, got rid of this, and just started on, and it's funny because, I even got the sensitive brand, this is for sensitive teeth. You brush your teeth with this, and then you look at the ingredients and it's the same garbage plus sugar and everything else. I'm like, how's this, helping your sensitive teeth? When I gave up the over-the-counter toothpaste completely and went with the baking soda, just got away from it, all my sensitive teeth problems disappeared within a week. Like, it was just gone. I went from too hot, too cold to no issues. I will take ice water, and swish it around in my mouth. It does not cause me any problems. And I'm pretty sure it's because I got rid of this stuff right here. If you guys have sensitive teeth, get rid of it. Grab you some of this Silver Bright and give that a whirl, because I guarantee you may see a big difference, because whatever this stuff is they're putting in here, I think is the problem.
Well, and we want to help try to stop trips to the dentist. When we started making our products, one of the things that we wanted products that were super effective and under the price of an office visit, to the doctor.
Yes.
And something that has long shelf life. So all of our products have roughly a 10-year shelf life. And all of them work on multiple different things. So unlike a pharmaceutical, where, especially for viruses, when they give you something, okay, this works on this specific thing and only this thing. And they try to tailor their creations to work on a single, entity. The problem with viruses is viruses are a lot smarter than humans are. Viruses change and mutate about once per hour. So when they come out with a vaccination, an hour later, it's already working on how to defeat that, because like every living organism in the universe, its goal is survival. Nothing ever makes it by wiping itself out. So killing its host is not in its best interest. So when they mutate, they become less lethal but more infectious. It wants to spread. It wants to propagate. So when they come out with these vaccinations, it's usually on the first strand. And if you're like, okay, well, is that really true? Or think about this: how many variations of flu have we had? Every year, it's changing. It's changing. If we were so smart, we would have been able to knock it out. No, we don't. They don't want to knock it out. They just want to sell you another thing that you can take. And I found out that a lot of people that I've talked to that have gotten shingles usually get it within 3 to 4 days of a flu shot. So why is this thing causing something else? And that's because there's no pharmaceutical that alkalizes the body. They all create an acidic environment in your body. There's no disease that can live in an alkaline state, can live in an oxygen or an ozone or a hydrogen peroxide state.
I love it. I love it. Well, I tell you, man, Jeff, you've blown me away with these products. I'm sold 100%, and I'm not an easy sell. I'm always the doubting Thomas. But I've had great luck with all of your stuff. Everything's worked just like you said it was going to. And so I can't thank you enough. We've blown through an hour again. We're going to have to do another one of these shows before it's all said and done. We get talking and it just flies by. But guys, right there, scan that. Check out Jeff and Micronic Silver. Use discount code Robert Toombs for 10% off. This is my go-to from here on. And this nasal spray, man, I'm going to keep running it. What do you want to leave us with, Jeff?
Well, for people that want to try our products, we have our Silver Bullet Kit, which is our 5 top products. It does not have the Silver Bright products in it, but we sell that as everything you need in your medicine cabinet. You got stuff for cuts, scrapes, burns, wounds. Literally, the Micronic Silver Dietary Supplement. If you get food poisoning, you can take 2 teaspoons, and usually in 4 minutes, the diarrhea, throwing up, stomach pain stops. So that's something that could be, people can try our products. It'll save them some money because it's in a bundle, and that'll give you a good representation of the effectiveness of our products. And again, if you're going to buy anything, the nasal spray is important because that's where your health begins, is in the nasal. And then the Silver Bright tooth spray for the mouth, because you have to brush your teeth anyway. You might as well make it something that's beneficial to your system.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, as always, man, it's a pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Stick around for after we wrap up here so we can jive just for a couple more minutes. And, of course, big thanks to the Russ of Oz hanging in there with us, always pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, doing all that magic stuff to keep the show rolling good. Next Monday, we have the permaculture consultant, Billy Bond's son, Mr. William Bond, will be on with us the first time. He will also be joining us at Mountain Readiness May. We're going to be doing a RAM processing. It's going to be awesome. Thanks to everybody in the chat for jumping in there. God bless. We'll see you next time. Y'all stay safe. Stay ready.